Um, there was an Yazdikar II who also persecuted the Christians in Armenia and tried to subjugate the whole of the province. Um, well, during this time, actually, Armenia during this time was divided into two parts. One was under the Romans, the other was under the Persians. And the Persians, they repeatedly tried to conquer the part of the country which was under the Romans. So there was also an emperor named Ormuzd who granted who liberated the Christians in his empire, and Christians as well as the Jews in his empire. He was epitome of religious tolerance, and the Jews, in fact, compared him to Cyrus the Great, who had liberated them from captivity. Then there was a king by name Pirus. Today we would pronounce it as Feroz. But this fur to fur conversion happened after the Arabs came, so it was originally Pirus. Now this Pirus, he began his reign by with a war against the Huns, who had occupied vast chunks of the northwestern part of the empire. The king of the Huns was named Kushnavas. It seems a strange name for people who are considered barbarians, because Kushnavas meant sweet comforter. So, or so Rawlinson says. But I guess the meaning is quite different, not sweet comforter, but a little bit different. Now what happened, this Firuz invaded the northeastern part of the empire and tried to drive out the Huns. The northeastern part of the empire meant the places like Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, which are now we know them as former Soviet republics. These were the regions that formed the northeastern part of the empire, and which had come under, which were invaded and conquered by the Huns. He wanted to displace them from there, but the Huns made use of guerrilla tactics, and a surprise attack. They just encircled the whole Persian army and captured Pirus. And in the end, Pirus was forced to prostrate before before Kushnavas, the king of the Huns. This was indeed very humiliating for him, and though he was let off free after this ordeal, he always wanted to. He could never forget it, and he wanted to take revenge. So, but for the time being, he concentrated on the Armenians, and he tried to capture the lands. But these battles with the Armenians too ended in a stalemate. And then towards the end of his reign lasted for about 24 years. Towards the end of his reign, he tried to win back his pride, and he invaded the kingdom of the Huns once again. The Huns once again proved to be too mighty, and the Persian army was defeated, and Firuz was killed in battle. Following the death of Firuz, there was a minor sort of decline, which lasted for about a few decades. This decline was arrested. This decline, rather I wouldn't call it decline, this sort of instability was arrested in the early 6th century by the accession of a king called Kavad, or in New Persian it would be Kobad. The Arabized language called New Persian, it would be Kobad. But in the Indo-Iranic Middle Persian language it was Kawad, and he was popular known as Kay Kawad, or as we would pronounce it now, Kaikobad. Now this K was actually a prefix which was added to the names of great people, mostly emperors. This how this prefix K originated, we are not aware, but probably it might have evolved from the root Indo-Iranian root Kavi. Kavi meant seers in Zoroastrianism, and there were plenty of Kavis in ancient Zoroastrianism. In India, of course, it meant a poet, or probably, but probably in ancient times it meant much more. So this Kawad or Kaikobad, he ruled for about he ruled for about 30 years till 532 AD. During this time, like his predecessors, he fought against the Armenians and he fought against the Romans. But the most significant event of his reign was the rise of a man, was the rise of a holy man by name Mazdak. This Mazdak actually, he was quite a person who was far ahead of his time. He preached something like socialistic, a form of socialism. His religion was a form of socialism, and he said that property should be shared among everyone and should not be concentrated in the hands of a few people. Now this Kawad became he became converted to this Mazdakite religion that this Mazdak had founded. Well, I had already spoken about a person named Mani, and who was eventually killed and who was flayed. Sorry, prior to his killing, he was flayed alive, and his skin was actually hung outside the gates of Ctesiphon. I had spoken about him. Following the advent of this Mani, actually Zoroastrianism started to lose its vitality. That was quite for about some close to 100 years it was in decline. And then only in the middle of the 4th century AD, there appeared a man named Adarbad Maharaspand. He was a Mobad, or a Zoroastrian holy man, and he is generally credited with having a and is generally credited with having completed the first and he is credited with having compiled having collected all the books of the Avesta from that had vanished long ago during the time of Alexander, and having published it. Now the king at the time was Shapur I, and he in order to test this guy's faith, he had a molten iron poured down his bare chest, and this guy actually Adarbad Maharaspand actually survived it, and while Zoroastrianism was overthrown by Alexander the Great, it was revived by Ardeshir, and overthrown by Mani, it was revived by Shapur and Adarbad Maharaspand, because Shapur became his ardent disciple, or so the saying goes. Now, following this, actually, Zoroastrianism has had its hold over the people. That was until Mazdak came in the early 6th century AD. This This Mazdak, apart from preaching a form of socialism, he also recommended fasting. This was in strict contrast to the teachings of the Zoroastrian religion. For the Zoroastrian religion, thought that it was taboo not to eat food. In fact, one who fasted um, is the worst criminal according to the Zoroastrian um, Zoroastrian book of according to the Zoroastrian holy books. The book, of course, volume of book 1 or Fargard 1 of Avesta, which is known as Vendidat. This book actually says that the person who does not eat um, this actually says that the person who does not eat is worthy of the worst sort of punishments that could be inflicted. In strict contrast to Zoroastrianism, the Mazdakites actually fasted, and this person Mazdak recommended fasting. Where he got this idea, we never know. Probably probably from the Jains, or some Jain Munis actually participated in the ritual of Salekana, in which they fasted to death. But what happened? So for a time, this Mazdakite religion reigned supreme over Sassanid Persia, and Zoroastrianism, Zoroastrian clergy took a backseat. But what happened? Suddenly, this Mazdak actually made a fatal mistake. Um, uh, he requested the king. He reportedly, according to legend, he requested the king Kavad to give him one of his wives. Uh, um, or share one of his wives with him as part of um, to show his devotion to the Mazdakite religion. And it seems that Kawad actually consented to it. But his son Kushro would have nothing of it. And before one of his wives could be delivered unto Mazdak, he had him murdered. And he issued orders against all the Mazdakites and had them killed everywhere. Um, this was when Kawad was still alive, and after Kawad died, this Khusro came to power as he came to the throne as Khusro Anushirvan. Now, Khusro Anushirvan was one of the three monarchs whose reputation passed into Islam, and even today they are recognized as um, heroes of Persian history. One of the three Sassanids, who Khusro Anushirvan, Bahram Gur, and Khusro Parvez. Now, Khusro Anushirvan came to the throne in 532 and he ruled till 578. A tenure of 46 years. During this period, he